Hey everybody, greetings from the motherland and welcome, or as we say here, welcome Malaka. Today I got an absolutely fantastic and quick episode for you on a beautiful traditional Greek style meal, braised lamb with potatoes and peas, all done in one pot, and it's fantastic and I can't wait to show you. So to start us off with this, I've got the star of the show here. I've got some beautiful lamb. For this, I'm using the shoulder and rib portion of the lamb. And what I'm going to do first is add a little bit of Greek extra virgin olive oil, no less, about 1/4 cup or so. You don't want to go too chintzy on this, especially here or wherever you are. And you're just going to place this in your pot. And again, I apologize for the one camera angle. It was kind of shot impromptu here. And I just thought I'd share this awesome recipe with you because I think it's fantastic. And in fact, it's one of my favorite recipes. So I'm just going to place my lamb in my pot, very simply, and just let that go. And you can probably start hearing the sizzle right now. Now we want to add some salt and pepper. And this recipe here, you can go a little generous on the salt. It's always to taste in my book, but basically heavier is a little bit better here and it'll take it. A little bit of pepper, and again, I like to go pretty generous on the pepper. Perfect. And just let those go now until you get that beautiful golden brown color. Okay, so it's been now a few minutes. We got one side of our lamb browned off. Look at that, it's absolutely fantastic. Give this a quick turn over and just let this go for another few minutes until the other side gets browned off or browned off on all sides. I have to tell you again, I have to show you. This right here is all flavor, and that's exactly the name of the game and what we're looking for here. All that beautiful brown glazing on the bottom of the pan. And at this point, I like to add a little more salt and pepper on the other side of my browned lamb, and that way it kind of balances out the flavor. A little bit more pepper throughout. Again, this is almost like a stew style dish. It is going to be braised in a tomato sauce, in a light tomato sauce, but because of the potatoes, the starch is going to help thicken up and tighten up the sauce, perfect for bread dipping. So now while our lamb is on its way to finish browning, I'm just going to take an onion, and this point here, you could either chop it or slice it. I'm going to very simply just slice it up, nothing fancy, nothing complicated at all. You don't need, it doesn't really matter. If you choose to, if you don't want bigger chunks of onion in your sauce, of course you can chop it a little more fine. Whatever you prefer is totally cool. So that's perfect. Our onion is now sliced. It's ready to go. I'm just gonna grab a dish and remove our browned lamb from our pot. And this is an easy recipe. There's really nothing to this at all. It is absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. I'm just gonna leave this here, and I'm gonna add another 3 tablespoons of olive oil to my pan and get my onions going in there. That's the sizzle you want, baby. That's exactly the flavor profile that this and like most Greek sauces have. They're onion and garlic based. So that goes in there. Perfect. Our onion sautés, and as the onion releases its liquids, its moisture, it'll help pick up the bottom and those delicious kind of bits of browned lamb. Also, a bit of advice, if you're gonna be using onion and garlic, throw in your onion a couple, 3 minutes before you actually put in the garlic, only because garlic has a lower burning point, and there's nothing worse than having like burnt garlic in your sauce. It just ruins the whole flavor, and that's not really a good thing. All right, so that's off. Next thing, our garlic. And all you're gonna do is just thinly or small chunks of garlic go into your pot. Nothing complicated. We want the flavor and the essence, and that's perfect right there. Now that our garlic has been added into our onion, give that a couple of minutes. Just let all the oils of the garlic and the onion flavors all just kind of get together and be happy. Keep it moving. Don't let your garlic catch on you. Now, at this stage of the game, take our lamb again and put it back into our pot. Nothing to this, right? Nothing complicated at all. This is like Greek peasant food. This is Greek village food 101. You're not really gonna find this on very many restaurant menus, but I am telling you, this is so freaking delicious, it's unbelievable. Get the juices in there as well from the browned lamb. Move that over there like this. Next thing going in is 14 ounces of crushed tomatoes. In Europe, they have glasses, they have jars, they have cans, and they also have these little kind of fruit boxes of crushed tomatoes. I love it. So that's perfect right there. That goes in there into our sauce. And at this point, you're going to cover your meat or your lamb with water. Nothing too much, just enough to cover it off. That's perfect right there. And let that go now for about 15 minutes. Once our meat and our sauce has been incorporated into our pot, you're gonna take about half a teaspoon of cinnamon. That's right, cinnamon. Not a lot, a little goes a long way. This really is less is more. You're gonna pop that in there and let that kind of come up to a boil. Let that simmer off. And in about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, we're gonna add our potatoes. All right, so it's been half an hour and our lamb is cooking away nicely. Give that a quick stir, and the smell in here is starting to become absolutely fantastic. This actually reminds me of my aunt or my grandmother's house when I was a kid coming here. Growing up, they would make things like this all the time. So now I want to jack up the heat a little bit to my burner. I want to bring this up to a kind of fast boil again, because now it's time to add my potatoes. And for this, I'm using about 2 pounds, 2 or 3 pounds of potatoes. They're on the small side, so because they're on the small side, I'm gonna put them in whole, except maybe for this one, which I'm probably gonna have. If you're using like a normal size, standard size potato, quarter it. And that way it won't take you like 2 hours to boil this thing down. So I'm just gonna place my potatoes whole in here. Very complicated, as you can see. And just put them in there. And what's gonna happen is now, as our potatoes are gonna cook down, the starch that's gonna be released is gonna help tighten up our sauce. At this point now, just make sure everything is submerged under our beautiful tomato braising liquid or sauce. And you're pretty much good to go for probably another 20 minutes or so. And at which point our potatoes are gonna start becoming fork tender and becoming all kinds of delicious. And that's when we're gonna add our peas. You don't wanna add your peas in too soon, or they're gonna become like gross and mushy, and nobody wants that. So let this go now, and I'll see you back here in about 20, 25 minutes or so. All right, so it's been about half an hour or so that our meat has been kind of simmering down, our lamb with our potatoes. Next part of this is the peas. I always prefer to either use fresh, or if I can't find fresh, I use frozen. Now, in this case here, I prefer frozen. You control the salt and you keep everything kind of in check, and they're actually packed and frozen at the peak of freshness. So now with this, I'm just gonna very simply add about 2 cups of peas to this. All right, so now that our peas are in, the next part of this, very simply, is just stir this in here and just let that go, just like that. Cover it up and simmer now for about 10 minutes. Typically, normal people will do their frozen peas maybe a couple, 3-4 minutes. Greeks will boil the shit out of their peas. So in this case, this is gonna sit here for about 10 minutes and it's gonna be ready to serve. All right, so here we are about 50 minutes into the cooking time here, and we're ready to go. And obviously my favorite part of the video. So our lamb and potato and pea stew, our Greek style deliciousness is ready to go. So the only thing that I want to do right now is find a plate and try some. So I'm just gonna grab a little piece of meat. Oh, that looks fantastic. That looks absolutely fabulous right there. Wow. I'm gonna take a little potato too. Like I said, I'm not trying to make a meal here. I just want to, you know, for you guys, try this out because, you know, it's what I do for you. And look at this plate. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely fantastic. Let me just set this down here. Let me grab a fork, and this should be absolutely fantastic. And oh look, a freshly baked loaf of Greek bread. Imagine how that happened to get here. So I'm just gonna take a little piece of this, just, you know what? Take some, tear it off, nothing to this at all. And you know what? This is always like my favorite part, like just dipping. It's this sauce that is absolutely fantastic. And it's hotter than sin, I'll tell you that. My peas, this is like holy shit hot. That's how hot this is. Look at my lamb. No knife at all. Just literally broke off. Literally just broke off. That, my friends, is Greek Village Cooking 101. I cannot tell you how happy food like this makes me. And I'm sure it's gonna make you very happy as well. Very simple recipe, nothing to this at all. Your lamb, potatoes, tomato sauce, peas, like literally a handful of ingredients, and you've got a truly magnificent dish that's gonna feed 6 to 8 people, or 2 or 3 Greeks, but it's gonna be fantastic. So that's it for this episode on my Greek style lamb, potato, and pea dish. I hope you guys try this, I really do. Please share this video. I hope you guys had fun watching this. I know I had fun making this, and I'm gonna have even more fun eating this. So until next time, my friends, from beautiful southwestern Greece, I thank you very much for watching. I'm Ken, aka The Lazy Gourmet. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.